Please subscribe to the channel and stay tuned. This story will test your patience, twist your heart, and prove that revenge sometimes comes quietly, like winter fog creeping through a Venetian canal. My wife, Clara, texted me early on a Thursday morning. "It's just a girl's trip, don't worry." The message landed while I was pouring coffee into a chipped mug in our apartment in Florence. Sunlight cutting golden stripes across the terracotta tiles. The words were casual, even cheery, but I didn't feel calm. I felt the slow, gnawing unease that comes when someone has built a life in shadows you didn't see. Clara had a way of being untouchable, radiant and distant all at once. She had planned this trip months ago with her childhood friends. Rome, Capri, wine tastings in Tuscany. I had insisted on going to a board meeting in Milan, an excuse she readily accepted. The air between us lately had been brittle, like old paper that bends, but never stretches. Kevin, that name arrived the same afternoon, tucked into a forwarded message from her best friend, casually signed, "Kevin sends his love." I stared at the phone. Kevin was the kind of man who knows how to linger in someone's life without ever being invited. Smooth, charming, the type who makes himself indispensable in conversations, in jokes, in spaces that are meant to be sacred. For a moment, I laughed quietly, trying to dismiss it. "It's just a friend," I told myself. But the image of Kevin, the way Clara had smiled at him at the last party, the subtle brush of their hands across the table, all of it started to press in on me. Sharp and uncomfortable. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. Instead, I watched. I let the trip begin without me, and I let the silence grow. I spent that week like a shadow, tracing her movements through the digital breadcrumbs she left behind. Photos tagged in charming little cafes, stories posted with laughing faces, hints of a closeness I had been excluded from. And then I decided to act, not out of rage, not out of a jealous scream, but as a slow, careful chess player would. I contacted Marco, a private investigator I had once hired to look into a potential business partner. He owed me a favor. "I need to know everything about Kevin," I said, passing the investigator a small envelope thicker than he expected. By the time Clara returned, sun-kissed and laughing about gelato on the Spanish steps, I had every detail I could want. Kevin's apartment, the friends he lied to, the credit cards, the travel patterns, even his secret Tinder profile. Every facade had a crack, and I planned to widen it. Clara came through the door, arms full of suitcases, her hair shining like spun copper. She expected me to greet her with warmth, perhaps a kiss. I gave her a smile instead. Measured, quiet, almost like a ceremony. "Welcome home," I said. "Hey, you didn't come to the airport?" she asked, her voice light. "I was busy," I replied. Her brow furrowed slightly. That was the first tiny fracture I wanted to see. Over dinner, I brought up Kevin casually. "He sent a message," I said, placing my phone between us. She glanced down. She laughed nervously, brushing it off. "Just a friend," she said. I nodded. Of course. But I had already begun the first step. I created a fake persona, an online presence that would be impossible for Kevin to resist. A new profile, artfully designed to intrigue, flirt, and insinuate. One that hinted at knowledge of his personal life and subtly threatened exposure if he continued certain behaviors. It took 3 days. By then, I had built a network. Mutual friends who began sending anonymous messages about Kevin's supposed indiscretions, documents leaked that hinted at double lives, emails that seemed to arrive from disgruntled ex-partners. Kevin panicked first. The texts started coming in. "Who is this? Stop, don't ruin me." I never replied. I watched him unravel. Meanwhile, I kept Clara in the dark, sitting across from her at our kitchen table, smiling, participating in small talk. I knew she would eventually see it, if not through my eyes, then through his cracks. It came on the 7th day, late at night. Kevin, desperate, came to our apartment building. I let him in, telling him Clara was asleep. He looked around nervously, his charming mask faltering. "I know it was you," he hissed when I finally closed the door behind him. "I think you overestimate yourself," I said, calm. "I'm not here to fight. I'm here to ensure you understand your boundaries." Kevin begged, pleaded, tried to charm. But I had all the cards. Every friend who would confirm a lie, every document that hinted at secrets he had spent years hiding. I didn't press charges. I didn't yell. I just left him in a corner of fear, a quiet, calculated terror. I told him, "Leave Clara alone, or everything she values will become yours to ruin." By morning, he was gone. Clara never knew the half of it. She never knew that Kevin's world had quietly collapsed while she slept, that he had been taught in the coldest way possible that some boundaries are absolute. We sat together at breakfast, and she noticed the change in me. "You look different," she said. "Calmer," I replied. She didn't argue. I wanted her to feel a tremor of guilt, the unspoken tension that she had ignored, that she had allowed. But I didn't say it. Revenge, I learned, is most effective when silent. Weeks passed. Kevin never contacted Clara again. He moved cities, destroyed relationships, and disappeared from our lives entirely. Clara asked me why she had never heard from him again. I smiled. "Maybe he finally learned respect," I said. She nodded, unconvinced. But I didn't care. I had protected her in my own way, ensured her safety, while showing the man who had dared encroach on my family exactly what happens when boundaries are crossed. Sophia, our daughter, if she ever asked about Kevin in years to come, would never have to worry about men who invade her life. Clara, if she ever questioned my methods, would understand too late that some lessons cannot be gentle. They must be carved slowly into reality. By the time spring returned to Florence, the air smelled of magnolias and wet stone. Life moved on, casual and bright, as if nothing had happened. But I knew better. I had seen the fragility of appearances, the way a single careless action can ripple across years of safety. I had learned that vengeance is not a scream. It is the quiet certainty that those who threaten your family will never again see the world as theirs to bend. And as Clara poured coffee into the chipped mug next to mine, smiling without suspicion, I sat back, calm, watching the sun strike golden stripes across the floor. The lesson had been taught. The world could remain beautiful, but some men would never forget who holds the truth, and I, in silence, had ensured it.